What's up, guys? Cobra ANA here, coming at you again with my first parts haul for Global War. So hope you enjoy. Here is the mountain infantry I'll be using. These are all from Historical Board Gaming for the neutral nations of Global War. Here's the paratroopers. These are just Japanese paratroopers I'll be using. I'm going to be using these ones as infantry. I just thought they had a little bit more detail on them. I like their backpacks and everything. Yeah. So for my militia, I'll just be using Dutch infantry. They're pretty nice. Nice sculpt and everything. Yeah. Good detail. I like kind of the neutral stance of them just kind of standing with their gun at the ready. Here's the motorized infantry I'll be using. This is just a Polish truck. So, yeah, I really like the detail on this thing. Like, great amount of depth and everything. Tires stand out well. There was only one anti-aircraft gun for the neutrals, so I just picked out one of my old Axis and Allies 1941 anti-aircraft guns. Same with this coastal submarine. I've just picked out a bunch of those. They'll be used as all of my coastal submarines for Axis, Allies, and neutrals. These are my cavalry. Just using Risk cavalry, with my Chinese. They look pretty nice. As long as you chop off the little plume on their top of their hat and paint them like the rest of their respective army, they do pretty well. A couple of American subs to represent submarines. I just got the cheapest ones I could find. Most of this stuff's on a budget. Here's the Japanese torpedo bomber I'll be using as my tax. They have so much more detail than the regular ones, I gotta say that. Here's the light carriers. Again, another Japanese sculpt for them. Yeah, good detail. Just a good mold overall. Here's some more comparisons just to the fleet carrier, which is Japanese that I'm using. Compared to the airplane, like, you can definitely tell it's a escort. This is the battleship. I'll talk about it more later, but as I'm going to discuss, the Historical Board Gaming pieces list is really out of date and does not give you the right amount of pieces you need. So these are the heavy bombers I'll be using, which are the Japanese variant heavy bomber, and yeah, they look pretty nice. This is the Soviet Yak transport, which I'll just be using as my German transport planes. I really like the color on this. I'm not sure why. I just kind of reminds me of candy or something like that. Here is the other motorized infantry, the Opel half-track. I really wish that I could have got these with the wheels in the back. I think the only people that make them was Axis and Allies Battle the Bulge, which are $1 a piece, which I can't pay for that. These are the light tanks. All the tanks look really nice just because of the fact that really well detailed in a small amount of space. I forget which model of tank this is. It might be the Czechoslovakian Panzer. This is the Panzer IV. Another nice looking tank. I like how you can kind of bend the barrel a little bit and give it some poses. A lot of detail again. Yeah, really good tank overall. This is the artillery piece. It's a okay artillery piece. It's small, it doesn't take up a lot of space. I like the spokes on the wheels, but it's a little bit of a funky mold. The tail in the back, as you can see, is a little short. These ships that I'm using are the Dutch ships, so this is the transport. Okay transport, except for all these Dutch ships seem to have very geometric molds, kind of not that detailed. Here's the destroyer for them. Again, not a ton of detail, but I guess they do just kind of are meant to make the point across that they're the class of ship that they are, along with the cruiser. A little more detail because it's a little bit bigger, but you know, kind of, they're neutrals, just gets the point across that they have a navy. Yeah. And but looking at the ship in real life pictures, it's just not a really ornate ship. This is the Fokker-Wulf fighter. Another nice fighter. I'm going to be using these as my Italian jet fighters too, because they have a good amount of similarities if you paint them up right. This is the Fokker 6 or 7, I think. I really like this plane for some reason. I'm not sure why. Just this mold's pretty good. It's got the elevators and everything, but just the real life plane's an interesting and cool concept of a plane. And I'm thinking about buying it to use as a seaplane too. And compared to the fighter, it's pretty nice for a medium bomber. So here's all my neutrals ready to be painted up and everything. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video about the neutrals. And again, like I was saying, so Historical Board Gaming has a parts list, which I think is either really wrong or it was meant for Axis, the first Global War. And as you can see here, I mean, it told me to get 10 transports. They gave me 11 and I only used 2 of them. Yeah, but, and then also it's things like the subs and everything. Like, most of this stuff was going to China and the CCCP, but when do you think you're ever going to be building a navy with China? Like, most of the time the Civil War doesn't get resolved and Japan takes over. So I have a ton of extras of those. Again, like, here's the ships and the artillery pieces, but I mean, look at how many fleet carriers and torpedo bombers and battleships that I have left over, and I can't just paint all these, like spray paint them and call it a day, because I'm painting all these realistically, so this would take hours to add to my Japanese fleet. So I've just got a bunch of these. I don't know if I'm going to resell them or not. Hopefully I can, but all that counts right now is these. They're going to be kind of tough to paint just because they have a ton of different colors. And over here I have some more my special kind of neutrals. So here's my Dutch army for Europe and Pacific side. Yeah, a few ships, infantry. That penny's just supposed to represent an elite marine that I'm supposed to get for them. Here's Turkey. The ones that I've thought were leaning more to the Axis side, I gave them more Axis kind of pieces and stuff. This is supposed to represent their battle cruiser Yavits. I gave one to the it's from the original Axis and Allies, and I gave one to the Spanish Republicans. Yeah, these are the Spanish nationalists, and again, since they're leaning towards the Axis, I've given them the Opel motorized infantry, and kind of the more equipped soldiers using the paratroopers. And these are the Republican infantry. You can see another one of the battleships over there. And for these guys, I gave them a little more kind of cloth uniforms and the Polish trucks, just to kind of show that they're supposed to represent the nicer, more towards the people side of the government, being the nationalist and the kind of communist influenced guys. So I know these are all going to look really nice when they're all painted up, and yeah, it's going to be kind of tough because they all got to be different colors, but it should be good. So I hope to see you again. Cobra out.